Here's a question that should make every Phillies fan sit up and take notice. What happens when a team desperate for bullpen stability signs a pitcher who's been cut, traded, and shuffled through 4 organizations in just 4 months? Is this the kind of calculated risk that transforms October disappointments into championship glory? Or are the Phillies simply collecting baseball's cast-offs and hoping something sticks? Because let me tell you, folks, when you're coming off yet another postseason where your relief corps crumbled under pressure, every bullpen move becomes a referendum on whether management truly understands what went wrong. The Philadelphia Phillies just inked 29-year-old right-hander Zack to a 1-year deal, and the reaction around the baseball world has been, let's call it, cautiously skeptical. This is a pitcher who threw exactly 6 2/3 innings across 5 appearances for 2 different teams this past season, surrendering 11 earned runs. That's an ERA that would make a position player blush. Yet here we are, and the Phillies are betting that somewhere beneath that statistical carnage lies the same arm that posted a 2.77 ERA across 39 innings back in 2022. The stakes? Nothing less than the credibility of Philadelphia's entire off-season bullpen reconstruction project. Let's set the scene properly, because context matters when you're trying to understand why a franchise with championship aspirations is dumpster diving through the wreckage of other teams' failed experiments. The Phillies' bullpen has been their Achilles heel, their kryptonite, their recurring nightmare that shows up every October like clockwork. We've watched this movie before. Dominant starting rotation carries the team through the regular season. Offense produces just enough, and then the 7th inning arrives in a playoff game, and suddenly it's a parade of walks, hanging sliders, and crushed home runs. The formula for postseason failure has been depressingly consistent. Management recognized this glaring weakness and went to work. They made the blockbuster move at the July trade deadline, acquiring Joan Duran to lock down the closer role. That's your 9th inning solution, theoretically. They watched Matt Strahm, a reliable left-handed reliever, walk out the door in a trade. They responded by signing Brad Keller to a 2-year deal after his impressive campaign with the Chicago Cubs, a legitimate middle relief acquisition that actually made sense. They grabbed Kyle Backus from the Arizona Diamondbacks to fill the void Strahm left behind. Each move had logic. Each move addressed a specific need. And now comes Zack, the wild card, the mystery box, the pitcher whose recent track record suggests he might not even survive spring training competition. But here's where it gets interesting. Pop isn't guaranteed anything. He signed a major league contract, yes, but that doesn't automatically translate to a roster spot when March turns to April. He's out of minor league options, which means the Phillies can't simply stash him in AAA if he struggles. It's make-or-break time, and that desperation might be exactly what Pop needs to rediscover whatever magic he possessed 2 years ago. Let's dive deep into the journey that brought Pop to this crossroads, because his career trajectory reads like a baseball cautionary tale about the razor-thin margins that separate success from obscurity. Pop's 2024 season was an absolute disaster. There's no sugarcoating it. After making 58 appearances for the Toronto Blue Jays in 2023, he entered this past season with reasonable expectations of carving out a consistent middle relief role. Instead, the Blue Jays waived him in April. That's barely 3 weeks into the season, folks. That's the organizational equivalent of saying, we've seen enough and we want no part of this. From there, Pop embarked on a 4-month tour of baseball purgatory. The Seattle Mariners picked him up, gave him a cup of coffee, and decided they'd rather try literally anyone else. The New York Mets, perpetually desperate for pitching, took a flyer on him and came to the same conclusion. By the time the Chicago Cubs signed him to a minor league deal, Pop had thrown just 6 2/3 innings in the majors all season, allowing 11 earned runs. That's an ERA north of 14.00 if you're keeping score at home. He never even appeared in a game for the Cubs' major league roster. He opted for free agency in early November, and the market's response was crickets. Until now. So, what happened? How does a pitcher go from posting a respectable 2.77 ERA across 39 innings in 2022 to becoming baseball's version of a hot potato 2 years later? The answer lies in the brutal reality of relief pitching. Margins are microscopic and confidence is everything. Pop's arsenal centers around sinker-slider combination that, when executed properly, generates weak contact and strikeouts. When he's commanding both pitches and keeping them down in the zone, he's legitimately effective. But when that command wavers, even slightly, when the sinker flattens out or the slider hangs, major league hitters feast. In 2024, Pop lost the strike zone. His walk rate spiked. His hard contact rate exploded. And once a reliever starts doubting his stuff, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start aiming instead of attacking. You nibble instead of challenging. Before you know it, you're watching home runs disappear into the night and wondering how it all went so wrong so quickly. Now, here's where we need to shift perspective and consider why the Phillies might actually know something the rest of baseball doesn't. Philadelphia's front office isn't run by fools. They've built a perennial contender through smart player development and strategic acquisitions. When they sign a reclamation project like Pop, it's not random. There's data, there's analysis, there's a belief that they can unlock something others couldn't. What might they see? First, Pop's stuff hasn't disappeared. His sinker still generates ground balls when located properly. His slider still has late bite. The raw ingredients for success remain. It's the execution and confidence that need rebuilding. The Phillies have a strong pitching development infrastructure, and they've successfully rehabilitated arms before. Second, Pop is entering a low-pressure situation despite the high stakes. He's not being handed a roster spot. He has to earn it against multiple competitors during spring training. Sometimes, a player responds better to that prove everyone wrong mentality than to the burden of expectations. Pop has been humbled. He's been released, waived, and ignored. That can either break a player or forge them into something harder and more determined. Third, the financial commitment is minimal. A one-year deal with an undisclosed salary, likely near the league minimum, represents virtually zero risk. If Pop flames out in spring training, the Phillies cut him and move on. They're not hamstrung by a bad contract or forced to carry dead weight on the roster. But here's the flip side. If Pop rediscovers even 80% of his 2022 form, the Phillies just found incredible value. A reliable middle reliever who can get ground balls and bridge to the late innings is worth its weight in gold during a playoff run. That's the upside they're chasing, and it's worth the gamble. Let's talk about what awaits Pop when he reports to Clearwater for spring training, because this is where the rubber meets the road. The Phillies' bullpen competition will be fierce. You've got Duran locked in as the closer. You've got Keller and Backus with guaranteed roles. Beyond that, it's open season. Pop will be competing against other non-roster invitees, minor league depth pieces, and potentially even some young arms the organization wants to evaluate. He has no minor league options remaining, which creates a fascinating dynamic. The Phillies can't send him down to AAA to work on things. He either makes the opening day roster or he's designated for assignment. That binary outcome adds urgency to every bullpen session, every simulated game, every spring training appearance. Pop needs to dominate. Not just pitch well, dominate. He needs to throw strikes, generate weak contact, and remind everyone why the Blue Jays trusted him for 58 appearances just 2 years ago. He needs to show that 2024 was an aberration, a nightmare he's woken up from, rather than the beginning of a permanent decline. The mental side of this challenge cannot be overstated. Pop has been rejected repeatedly over the past 8 months. He's been told, in no uncertain terms, that multiple organizations didn't believe he could help them win. That kind of professional rejection leaves scars. Can he block out the doubt? Can he pitch with the aggressive confidence that made him effective in 2022? Or will the ghosts of 2024 haunt every appearance? Zooming out, Pop's signing represents a small piece of a much larger puzzle. The Phillies are in win-now mode. They have an elite core of position players in their prime. They have a rotation capable of matching up with anyone in October. What they don't have, what they desperately need, is a bullpen they can trust when the games matter most. Every move they've made this offseason has been aimed at addressing that weakness. Duran gives them a legitimate closer. Keller provides middle-inning stability. Backus replaces Strom's left-handed presence. And now Pop enters the mix as a high-upside lottery ticket. The question that should keep Phillies fans awake at night, is this enough? Have they done enough to fix the bullpen? Or are they still one meltdown away from another heartbreaking playoff exit? Pop's performance in spring training and potentially during the regular season will help answer that question. If he succeeds, the Phillies suddenly have unexpected depth and flexibility. If he fails, it's a minor setback in a larger rebuilding project. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Championship windows don't stay open forever. The Phillies need to capitalize on their current core while everyone is still healthy and productive. They can't afford another season where bullpen implosion costs them a deep playoff run. The margin for error is razor thin, and every bullpen decision carries enormous weight. So, will Zack Pop resurrect his career in Philadelphia? Will he become the feel-good redemption story of spring training, or will he be another forgotten name waived before opening day? The honest answer, nobody knows. Not the Phillies front office, not Pop himself, and certainly not the fans hoping for bullpen salvation. What we do know is this: Pop has been given an opportunity that many players never receive. A chance to prove that one catastrophic season doesn't define an entire career. A chance to show that the pitcher who posted a 2.77 ERA in 2022 is still in there somewhere, waiting to emerge. The Phillies are betting that their coaching staff can extract that version of Pop. They're betting that a change of scenery, a fresh start, and the pressure of competition will bring out the best in a pitcher who has nothing left to lose. It's a gamble. But in baseball, as in life, sometimes the biggest rewards come from the riskiest bets. If this story resonates with you, if you're as fascinated by these bullpen chess moves as I am, smash that like button and drop a comment below. Tell me, are the Phillies geniuses for finding hidden value, or are they grasping at straws? I want to hear your take because this debate is just getting started and spring training can't come soon enough.